To say that the week of July the 1st to the 7th, which is a Monday through Sunday, is exceptional is an understatement. We have a couple of grand trines forming in both earth and water, but on top of that, a perfect mystic rectangle on the July 4th and 5th dates. This kind of intensity and sort of beauty of flow in the sky, especially involving Saturn and Venus and Mars and Saturn, can lead to some lasting goodness in each of our lives and areas where we may have previously struggled. And so we're going to be seeing some kind of solutions in ways that bring lasting results and also bring a deep sagacity or wisdom to how those results play out. Now, in the world at large, right, we have elections going on in the United States and in England and all over the world. It's one of the most big election years in the world, if you didn't know that. This will dovetail, of course, with the current election cycle in Britain or England that's happening. We're going to see this kind of really pushing into that election. But also, we just had a debate between the presidential nominees for the United States, and we're in the aftermath, indeed, the shockwave of that. And things that unfold this week ahead will be connected as well to that debate, impacting both Donald Trump and Joe Biden for reasons I'm about to show you. If you are wanting to know about yourself today, and that's what the point of the weekly forecast is, when you want to think about Venus and Saturn, it's about love and money stories coming into solidity, into solutions that are lasting and enduring and sensible and practical. And when it comes to matters to do with that beautiful Mars sextile Saturn, determination, drive, forbearance, and ambition bring results that are going to go the distance. And so your decisions and actions and the way you approach those actions and decisions around the 4th, 5th, and 6th of this week ahead are the Mars-Saturn narrative, whereas Monday through Thursday, even into Friday, you're really feeling that glow between Venus, the goddess of love, money, beauty, kindness, and peace, flowing to Saturn in Pisces. And Venus, of course, will have been doing the flow glow to watery Pisces from Cancer, where she is currently traveling. So let's break this week down. I'm going to have to show you the sky so you can see this gorgeous mystic rectangle in the sky. That's a little bit like where those lemonades in your life get turned into lemons get turned into lemonade, where things that can be very much about the crucible of tension of opposites can be blended into a unified and harmonious something. I'm going to try my best to keep this video under an hour and 15 minutes if you're trying to allot for your time today. But it is a busy week in terms of good and busy events in our sky. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Lori Lothian. I'm using the Western Tropical Zodiac, the whole sign house system. I have a fascination with the minor asteroids and the fixed stars. We love the minor asteroids where the devil is in the details, and I'll be talking about a couple of those minor asteroids in our video today. In particular, we'll be talking about the asteroid Cupido, for Cupid's arrow is striking and some kind of a renewal or surgence of passion in our lives. We also, and life force and vitality as well. We'll also be having a glance at what Sappho, the goddess of erotic lesbian love poetry on the Isle of Lesbos, the Greeks called her the 10th muse, is doing in her conjunction to Athena as a part of this week's glorious water trine. And we'll also touch briefly on, in that same water trine with Saturn, that nessus for revenge and betrayal and difficult things like that. So, but because a lot of the sky is in a state of flow, there are oppositions. We have a lot of good things to say as well. So let's get the sky queued up for you. If you're listening for your sun sign, you're listening about career, purpose, and maybe your essential core nature. We could call that your soul. And if you're listening for your rising sign, you're listening quite often to events that are particular to everything in your life as you sit at the character-driven steering wheel of your reality. So that can be very accurate. The moon can be about your body and home needs. Don't forget, moons are about your mom and mother figures as well. Suns are about your father and father figures. Not everything is about you. So first of all, I'm having really weird lighting, so you have to bear with me as I try not to have myself in the direct sunlight in my travels. I am on a journey right now where I've finished the Camino in Europe, El Camino, and now I'm in Kirkland Lake. Oh, I'm in a town somewhere in Canada. Don't worry, I'm leaving soon. I don't like, I forget not to tell people where I am just in case I get stalkers. Okay, so Too late. So what I'm going to do at this juncture is I'm going to talk to you about the world. That's called mundane, which means mundus, which means world astrology. I'm not going to spend more than 10 minutes on the world events, but because we have a lot going on in the world that may be very much about this week's sky ahead, let's start there. Then using the chapters by clicking the title of the video or the timestamps pinned to the comments, you can jump ahead to your sign, listen for all three, sun, moon, and rising, see which is most accurate for you. And if you're watching this video after it's gone through the live premiere on Monday at 9 a.m. and it's still within an hour of Pacific Standard Time, and it's still within an hour of having been aired, those timestamps and chapters won't yet be queued. It's not a mistake by my timestamper. It is just simply the way that YouTube has to synchronize it all. Okay, so I think I'm on a tilty angle and I probably look like I'm tipping over here, but we're doing our very darndest, aren't we, on travel lighting, travel mic, travel stuff. All right, let's get rolling. Let me show you the sky. When you see the sky, you're going to notice a six-pointed star, the seal of Solomon. This is also a symbol that the Jewish people use as one of their sacred symbols. It is considered to be lucky, auspicious energy. When you see that in the sky, two trines intersecting each other is what it is made of. Because I am going to try my best to annotate, let me show you that. First of all, we see this triangle here. What is this trine? That is a water trine. There's going to be luck, ease, and flow in watery elements of our sky this week ahead. That has to do with things that are mute or silent or hidden. Sometimes, the water signs don't have mouths. It has things to do with intuition, flow, and spiritual attainment. Water represents the traditional spiritual enlightenment houses of the houses 12, 4, and 8. So there's a lot of very spiritual energy moving through our sky this week ahead. You might notice as well that this becomes a kite, right? And if I was to do every little thing here, like the kites and stuff, we'd be here till, forever. But there is a sense that you can find great success in this week ahead, and we all can when we look at where Mars and Cupido sit. That's Cupido, Cupid's arrow, that's Mars. And that's Mars in Taurus. Sure, he's in detriment, but that Mars is headed into alignment on the 15th of July, 14th, 15th, in a conjunction with Uranus that we haven't seen since August 1st of 22, and before that in February of 2021, and therefore, and not again in our lifetimes for most of us. So this is a very important time for that Mars-Uranus synodic cycle. Well, my whole video and maybe webinar is coming out on that soon. And one of the things I'd say about it is with Mars coming into that proximity to Uranus, before he gets there, he's dealing up being the tip of a kite in what is a kite anchored in water, but pointing at Earth. Water and Earth. Kilns, water and earth, firing up the clay, water and earth, mudslides. Now, it can be literal. I don't want to worry anybody. Kites are positive, but nonetheless, when we see all of this water flowing into the earthy Mars, Uranus, we also see things to do with landslides, mudslides, tsunamis, mud, water events in the weather patterns of our sky. When we want to look at the other triangle, it is made up of earth, right? We see this is Juno, the goddess of committed partnerships. This is Ceres, the agriculture goddess, but also the one who harvests the abundance of the earth. So it's about harvesting and reaping. Ceres is about partnering in love or business, also money sometimes, like moneta, coinage, and also Mars. And then you get the other triangle that's here. So we have two overlapping triangles forming like a seal of Solomon or a six-pointed star. The sky is very busy and it might be hard to see, but trust me, it is there. And we're also in, because of the seal of Solomon, a lot of kite energy. We see Venus at the tip of this kite up here in water holding fort, right? Venus in the sign of water flowing to Athena, the goddess of knowledge and wisdom, with Sappho, the goddess of the 10th muse, inspiration, knowledge, wisdom. Eroticism, actually. I don't forget, and here's Cupido Mars. And then, but erotic means life force, vitality. And of course, flowing, oh my God, it's busy, guys, to Saturn, right? So now you see, I've circled the areas where the six-pointed star emerge. I'm also circling the idea that we have two water trines, one of earth and one of water. two trines, one of earth and one of water, intersecting each other. Now, in traditional astrology, we don't tend to use the minor asteroids or even the major asteroids, but here I wanted to point this out because when we do the all signs, I really want to focus here mostly on the idea that on Tuesday, Wednesday, Venus trines or flows to Saturn in Pisces. And because this is a sort of a story, what Pisces has been doing since last March in our Pisces area of our sky, individually and collectively, Venus is now supporting that in a very meaningfully positive way. Because Saturn will eventually leave Pisces in February of 2026, there are only roughly 3 Venus trine Saturns at any given 30 years. And so it's not like we can just say this is a yearly event, not in these signs. So it's important, and we will pay attention to what that looks like on this Wednesday. Also, Mars will sextile Saturn on Friday and Saturday, or on the you'll feel it already on the 4th, 5th, and 6th, into the July 4th weekend in the United States. Now, Mars action, drive, initiative up here, decisions in Taurus, debilitated in Taurus, but taking orders from Venus, right, who owns this real estate. So she's watching him and trying to help out. And we see that he flows to Saturn. And Saturn is retrograde, which means he's stationary, almost not moving, which means, because he just turned retrograde on the 29th, 30th, which means he's potent, powerful, and close to Earth. And we're going to talk about your sign in particular with regards to what this is. And this tip of this, like the capstone of this kite, is a mini grand trine, and in its own right brings exceptional positivity into the narrative. So not only do we have Saturn in Mars on Thursday, Friday, Saturday in a beautiful flow, we have Venus also flowing to Mars in a sextile and flowing to Saturn. I didn't even know where to begin with this today. I thought this is going to be one of the hardest delineations I've ever done because there's so much going on. It's just such a crazy week. Now, flowing energies, but also oppositional energies if we include the smaller or minor asteroids. Well, let me show you something. Let me just click us a little bit ahead for fun. And you can see that Venus is at 17 degrees on Monday, the July 1st. Happy birthday, Canada. Moving forward. Now, by the time we get to July the 3rd, which is Wednesday, she's at 20 degrees, but she is also still in a state of engaged flow to Mars, who's sitting in the 17th degree of Taurus, and of course to Saturn at 19 degrees of Pisces. And so therefore, she's still pretty well got a good visual eyeball on what's going on in her Taurus kingdom and in the home of her exaltation, which is Pisces. So for all of us today, the focus for your sign is that. Now, world astrology, let's talk about that. We're going to talk about how you're going to get this kind of a beautiful action going and this harmonious flow of lasting love and enduring money solutions with Venus trine Saturn, and powerful actions that take you into new territories of solidity, practicality, and solutions that go the distance, Saturn. But let's talk about the world just briefly. Joe Biden happens to have his sun in the late degrees of the sign of Scorpio. And unfortunately, that means that his sun is in an opposition to what will be the Mars-Uranus conjunction on the July 14th and 15th. Sun represents his career, also vitality. That does not look good in terms of Joe Biden's likelihood of staying in the race. But at the same time, this conjunction of surprise, Uranus conjunct Mars, will be on Donald Trump's midheaven. And because eventually there's going to be tension in the sky in August with Saturn and Jupiter, there is a sense that there can be some difficult circumstances for Donald Trump, despite the strength of his chart, but at least surprising circumstances around July the 15th. What's happening July the 15th is the Republican National Convention begins then and lasts for 3 days. And could the surprise be positive? Because he's a Mars ruled individual with Mars in Leo in his first house. So he's used to the Mars energy, and the Leo first house at 29 degrees where his ascendant sits on fixed star Regulus in Leo, however, will be in a square to this sort of Mars Uranus shock and awe energy that's happening in Taurus in Donald Trump's 10th house with his midheaven. The end of the story looks like there's a shakeup or some unexpected developments in his life and in his reputation and career space. I know that there's a sentencing, I think, on July the 11th. And I think that sentencing will indeed show itself to be quite alarming in terms of what the judge is going to decree. I don't know if an appeal just waylays the whole thing. I have no idea about the logistics of that, but that was a hush money trial. Now, a lot of people want me to always branch out to other countries. I know there's an election coming through the sky in England. And so I'm going to talk very briefly about that because it's very close to the events of this week. So what happens here is that there's an election in England or in the UK on July the 4th. It was called in May by the current Prime Minister of England, Rishi Sunak, who is a part of the Tory party, and his opposition is Keir Starmer, who is the Labour Party. Now, look, here's the deal. England used to be a Libra rising with its 1801 chart, which is the same rising sign as Israel. But once they did the Brexit thing, they ended up having a brand new chart. And the Brexit chart, by most people's consideration, based on the Brexit stuff, is an Aries rising. So let's just assume there's a new identity, the Brexit version of the UK, not a Libra rising. And I don't think it is a Libra rising because of the eclipses that we did see that disturbed the peace of the Israel story. You haven't seen, like, the UK's got some bad poll problems and other things, but it doesn't look as hard hit as Israel and the Gaza war stuff. So let's go with the idea that the UK is now an Aries rising chart. What could this indicate for this particular election? Well, let's go back to this chart here. Our chart. I'm not going to put up the English chart right now because I'm not doing a whole election video. I'm just wanting to give you a lay of the land because I know people say, why don't you do other countries? Right. Okay, here's the lay of the land. The lay of the land is as an Aries rising. Let me make that clear to you by actually making the chart look like an Aries rising. All right. So as an Aries rising nation, with, I believe, Saturn in the sign of Capricorn around 23 degrees in the new Brexit chart. This is what I will mention. Oh, come on back here, guys. Let's get the Aries up. Sorry, the software is acting very glitchy. It's not my fault. It's just acting slow. It's adjusting on lag for me. So the placement of the Saturn in the 10th house of leadership and the worldly leaders in the sign of Capricorn is sitting there right now as we speak in the natal chart of the Brexit chart. And it is an Aries rising Brexit chart. And where we're seeing in this week ahead on July 4th, some of the energies I've got this set for July 4th, it could impact the nation of England or the UK, is this particular asteroid. She's a part of a kite which favors Venus in the 4th house of the opposing party to the party in rulership. Ceres can be a repress. I believe there is a harvesting or a reaping or an ending of the current leadership. And because it can be a majority or a non-majority government, that the opposition will form, the Labour Party under Keir Starmer, would this be actually a majority government? Venus is a benefic. She is co-joined with the sun, invisible. Could that be a detriment? She's under the beams, maybe, but she's also in a state of flow and ease with Saturn. And she's also in a state of flow and ease with Sappho, but also with Athena. And something about this tells me that Keir Starmer or the opposing Labour Party will win this election in a significant way, which we would call a majority, and therefore be able to form a new government under their direction fully. That's my guess. I think there's a possibility of a minority government that Rishi Sunak can run, like in Canada. I don't know enough about the parliamentary system in England, but he could also just resign for the lack of confidence and not receiving a majority, and that may be an option for him. So that's my feeling about the state of the nation of the UK this week on July 4th with that election. We should probably be seeing a change of government in terms of party leadership. Now, what about the United States again? Well, the United States happens to be a Sagittarius rising. and so does Netanyahu, and so does Joe Biden. And what could this auspicious but intense week ahead look like for those elements of reality? Because we do see that we have a beautiful energy of flow between water in houses 12, 4, and 8. The fourth house represents the party in opposition to the party of leadership. In this case, this represents the Republican Party for the chart of the United States of America, Sibley chart, also for Joe Biden's natal chart. Because he is the president, you can treat his natal story very much the same as the country's story. And he has this Saturn in the sky in the fourth house with the asteroid for revenge, Nessus. Who wants revenge? Well, if you ever listened to Trump at the all Trump wanted to talk about is how he could have done it better had he been still in office during the last 4 years. So there's a sense there for an opponent who has a vengeful nature is going to be Saturn retrograde from his past, from Biden's past, right? Who can charm people with illusion and delusion. And I'm not pro-Trump or Biden. Is going to be perhaps a narrative that Biden and the United States are dealing with this week as we approach the July 4th weekend. Now, the mystic rectangle that I mentioned, well, it does bring great blessings of lemonade from lemons. It also indicates the tension is the oppositions that must be reconciled. With Joe Biden having his sun over here in Scorpio as one corner of this rectangle, and his moon in Taurus, where the other corner of the rectangle lies, it indicates health challenges or mental health challenges or just difficulties for Joe Biden that must be resolved. Like he's in an oppositional energy field between these two corners of the rectangle, and it has to do with leadership. And Juno in the 10th house would be running mates and running mate partnerships in the United States election. This is the opposing party. I kind of feel there's a very few reasons I do, but I do think that Joe Biden will probably be stepping down, just like Lyndon Baines Johnson did when we had North Node Chiron energy in Aries with eclipses, and then Joe Biden after the eclipse of April and back Lyndon Baines Johnson in 1968 stepped away from the incumbent presidency re-election race because of that energy of Chiron war, North Node wound / eclipses. And I do think that this will happen yet again in our current sky. But I would imagine that the reason that this could happen will be because people will say that Joe Biden is experiencing a health challenge rather than a cognitive challenge or frailty from his age, but we shall see. Will that happen this week? Will something like that be announced? That is to be determined. I am not sure. I'm going to add an asteroid right now, and it's Asteroid America. It happens to be an uncannily accurate asteroid when we're looking at issues to do with the United States. It does look like a symbol of the pyramid with the dollar bill eyeball on it. So, I mean, even though you could guess it's a North American symbol, it is a Masonic symbol that belongs to the United States. So the asteroid America was tracking through the sign of Capricorn for the entirety of the onset of the Gaza war until recently, just so you know. And the Capricorn part of the sky is home and homeland for the nation of Israel. But right now we can see that Asteroid America is in the sign of Aquarius. And I wanted to just check out how this asteroid may or may not get entangled in this week's mystic rectangle that will be around July 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And really, it is in an offside position, not particularly focused on world events. That said, it could be notable that the asteroid America is in a broad square to Mars this week. And in a way, that square to Mars could indicate a change or an upset, especially with the Uranus piece coming up on the 15th in United States politics, connected to placements that are relevant to Taurus. And in that case, it's the health matters of the leader of the United States. Joe Biden's 6th house is his house of sickness. And he has his moon there. And his moon was not only eclipsed last October on the 28th, but his moon is also under severe tension in the sky from a square to Pluto, as well as an opposition from Joe Biden's solar arc Pluto. So moon energies can be your mind, right, in the ancient tradition of India, and it's also in the house of sickness. So health, body, and mind sickness problems and challenges are plaguing Mr. Biden. President Biden. Now let's go ahead and do your sign and let's get rolling. So for your sign, we'll start with the Aries sun and moon. We're going to touch briefly on the glorious Venus trine to Saturn, and then we're going to move into the Mars sextile Saturn narrative. Before we get all over to that chart, if you're new to my channel and you haven't hit the like button or subscribed, maybe you want to give me a try. And the only thing I'm promoting this week is the new, just coming out July the 1st, sale for my All Signs 2024 videos. There are 90 minutes each for each single sign, forecasting all the events you need to know about for your sign for the year ahead. We still have 6 months in the year. This product was for sale for $77. Now it's on for only $33. That's less than 50% off. I mean, more than 50% off. And that is your chance to get this opportunity to buy this at my summer sale price, which is in the month of July. So for $33, you can have 12 videos. Therefore, listen for sun, moon, and rising, share with friends and family, listen for your kids. If you just want to buy your one sign, just that's all you want, your Aries sun or your Aries rising moon, your Taurus sun or Taurus rising or moon. If you just want to buy one a la carte, you can do that as well. Those used to be for sale for $25, and as of July 1st, they are now on sale for only $14.99. You can get those too. Every video is detailed and roughly 90 minutes long. So hopefully that's something you're interested in getting. Still lots of value 6 months ahead of the year, where you can have some navigational guidance that's much more in depth than anything I'm putting it here on YouTube, but also gives you the big picture view of the year ahead, or the year that you're in through to the end of this year. All right. So let's get started with the Aries sun, moon, and rising sign. Okay, let's get rolling with the Aries people, sun, moon, and rising sign. Remember, I explained earlier, sun can be purpose and career, moon can be home and nest or mind, and you can find your rising sign to be mostly everything about the character of you in the game of life. Alrighty, so let's get rolling and talk about it little bit by little bit here. So number one, Aries, sun, moon, and rising. Let's talk about the idea that Venus is applying, starting Monday, you feel it, into a flowing relationship, a gorgeous trine energy to Venus, to Saturn. Now, for you guys, this is a very soft energy that asks you to consider some of the deeper layers of your spiritual life. Because you see, Saturn is in that 12th moksha liberation house, going retrograde. It's inward looking, spiritual vibe, contemplation, solitude, in a good way, say sagacity and solitude and solace and solitude, inward energy. And at the same time, Venus in your 4th house of home, property, land, and real estate suggests there is something about this week ahead, Monday through Friday, where you're trying to consolidate things to do with home, joy, pleasure, and also your experience perhaps of finances connected to both work and home. You see, this Athena in your 8th house of chunky money can look like she's involved in something to do with mortgages, taxes, credit cards, debts, finances, loans, etc. And therefore, if there is any opportunity for you to make some solid changes in your financial structures as it pertains to home and home life, this is super powerful. If you are looking to rent a home or get a pet in your home, contractual Juno of vows and agreements is looking very fondly at Venus and suggesting support structures for that this week ahead. I would also say if you make money from international shores and borderless income, this is also quite lovely. That's because we can see at this time we have Saturn in the 12th house. He is retrograding. And the retrograde means old ground that's been active since March is now being investigated. What is it that you think that you need to do to shore up, fortify, and strengthen the gains in a career the career gains you are possibly capable of getting as we look at matters to do with borderless international revenue. So some of you who make money online, or you work for a foreign company, or you have foreign revenue sources, are seeing a flow and a glow, especially if those are connected to money you make in and from your home, or that have to do with the home-based matters. Now, for some very few of you, you may get some chunky money connected to family or legacy wealth, most particularly from a female in this week ahead. As we move towards July the 4th, and you start to feel into the Mars sextile Saturn energy, which is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you're really feeling it, even into Sunday. The energy is going to open up a door of positive gains and momentum when it comes to decisions and actions that you are making about your finances. Mars in your second house of savings and possessions, flowing to Saturn in the 12th house. So a lot of you may undo or redo or revise as well your dietary style, habits, and patterns, especially as it comes to health matters or addictions or self-undoing. This ideal energy, it's determined, forbearant action and decisions, is ideal to begin a cleanse, to quit a substance that you know is not good for you, etc., and to feel like the gains are easy, solid, and quite practical. For your finances, because eventually there's this shock and awe of a conjunction with Uranus on July 15th, we get to this idea that before that, you're really aiming for solid career financial gains. When it comes to activating Cupido, what are you most passionate about? What is going to stir you and bring you into a sense of enlivenment? It's not enough to have money. It's does the money, the way you acquire it, bring you passion and joy? Similarly, for the foods you may choose to eat or not eat, can you really enjoy the choices in your dietary style? Finally, I don't necessarily know if this Mars here can do this, but it's very possible, so I will bring it up. With that flow to Juno, contractual agreements this week ahead as we approach the end of the week for business partners or partnerships or deals or negotiations that involve legal vows and contracts and commitments regarding work situations, because we end up seeing an Earth trine focused on your 10th house. You may end one direction or harvest and reap something in one direction, but you may be also making a change in the work you do, whether it's literally a new job or a new direction in the way you create wealth and prosperity in the work matters and work settings. You know what I mean? New agreements, new work settings. A very few of you here will make changes of jobs and earning strategies, or literally a change of job, quitting one, starting another, that kind of thing. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising. Well, the value of this week, with the earth trine and water trine, what do you want to make from that earth and water in the kiln of reality? And you are an earth sign yourself. And it is very germane to you this week to note that Mars in the sign of you with what brings you passion and ardor is flowing beautifully to Juno in the house of romantic love, in the house of your children, in the house of your entrepreneurial endeavors, and also the vows and agreements you make with those other people in your life, those children, that love and romance partner. You're certainly on your game this week with that person as you form a stronger bond, but also there's this flow in the earth to ninth house matters. You may be culminating, harvesting, and reaping some great gains from that house of your spiritual beliefs, legal matters, and foreign land ashore travel. I wonder if some of you are also not moving toward a more formal commitment in love with Ceres in a house that has to do with churches, synagogues, and religious institutions, such as wedding plans and engagements, etc. Now, for entrepreneurs, because this is an entrepreneurial house, this is a week in which you could get a new entrepreneurial business partnership element engaged that requires legal agreements as well. I want to note that we are coming into this time of Venus, the goddess of beauty, love, and money, in a tremendous state of harmony and flow for you. Feeling this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but really acute, really intense on Wednesday, Thursday. This is opening a vibe of what you would like to experience that brings you pleasure and enjoyment and satisfaction in your third house of your local neighborhood environment, your neighbors, your siblings, and your short distance travel. And you really focus this week, especially as we move into the middle of the week, on that kind of pleasure and enjoyment. And it may be also involving a significant person in your life, with the erotic love goddess of erotic love poetry here, and Athena flowing to the Venus in the third, with a flow to your 11th house. I'll say one thing, especially up there with Saturn. It's like about an enjoyment of your life, enjoying the pleasure and the company of other people locally in your larger social groups and with the one you're with. So you're having a social life glow up, basically, and maybe some opportunity for short distance travel. As the week progresses and we move to Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, then you're going to notice that Mars is kicking into gear with Saturn. Saturn is saying what kinds of retracements and retrenchments and potencies, he's very, very slow and close to Earth, do you need to make right now in the way you create career gains and income from your career? And Mars is helping you take action and make decisions in a very beautiful, flowing way to succeed in that manner. Find new career paths that work for you. Find new ways of career success financially that are going to be coming through your capable drive and ambition and hard work. For some of you, it just means that you're really applying yourself to more solid career and financial gains. When it comes to your friendships, you also may make some very important decisions that are self-loving and self-caring to exit from a friendship, to like let it go gently. And your 11th house can be a longer vision you have of your life. And Saturn is realistic and practical. And decisions and actions you take now are more realistic and practical for the long range values, goals, and dreams you have for what you want to accomplish in this life. Like with Jupiter in your second house, getting ready next week after to flow to the nose of fate, or a couple weeks from now. Yeah. There's just nothing but some really good vibes going for you when it comes to your money story, right? Your wealth and money stories are really looking good. And so that in that regard, I think what you're really focused on this week is defining what brings you joy. Venus in the third house, in the local environment in which you live, in the daily life in which you live, and also making decisions about the gains you make in a practical way, or that you're capable of accumulating financially from your 10th house of career. The 11th is second from the 10th and represents that kind of gain. And you may also form a deeper bond with an elder sibling with that Mars sextile to Saturn in this week ahead, especially as the week progresses. Gemini. Well, first of all, this is a week where a lot of water and earth are flowing through the sky in two separate trines. The feeling I have is that you're going to experience this as a really good financial time for you, mostly because Venus, especially early Monday through to Friday, you feel her increasingly and beautifully, intensely flowing from your earnings, gains, financial resources, savings, possessions, flowing to Saturn in your 10th house of career. And that Saturn is where you have mastery and authority, or where the boss loves you up. And you also have flow to Athena with Sappho, the love goddess poetry of eroticism, the 10th muse. Just think inspired muse-driven success in the work house itself. So there's some kind of turning point energy Monday, Tuesday, most exact on Wednesday, Thursday, waning by Friday, to do with how you will experience a flowing glow up in your money, work, and sixth house is work, and career and reputation matters. Because Venus is still invisible, even though you will feel this, it may be that things that are happening this week really begin to emerge fully in the month of July, closer to the third week, when Venus begins to peek out at the very end of July from beneath the beams of the sun. But this is a good vibe for finances. Also, with the Earth trine this week forming between Mars in your 12th house, the harvest goddess Ceres in your 8th house, and Juno, committed contractual vows and agreements, in your 4th house, especially with Juno talking to Athena. Here are a few stories I'm seeing. First of all, just focusing simply on Mars sextile Saturn, which is pretty well a Friday, Saturday story. July 5th and 6th, you'll feel it a couple days before and a couple days after. You are looking at the idea of things you're doing behind the scenes, backroom deals, negotiations in the privacy of your home, things you're doing out of sight of the world, that are decisions and actions that can strengthen and fortify your career success and your financial success in your career. That is a lot of determination and hard work behind the scenes. When people aren't watching, you're busy figuring it all out by action and decision-making power. Don't forget, you're coming into that Uranus conjunction to Mars here as well. On the July 15th, we'll be talking about that separately. But with Cupido, passion projects too, as well. Now, just for a few of you, be careful for office romances that you have to keep out of the public view, because Cupido is talking to Saturn in your 10th house, or an old office romance resurges with the boss. So that could be something to be a little more wary of. Well, when it comes to this Juno, this is agreements and contracts and vows to do with legacy wealth from your family of origin, money connected to a spouse, or money connected to, or agreements, connected to things to do with real estate and property. And because we have Athena, who's kind of lawyer-like in the 6th house of landlords and lessees, some of you may be renegotiating or looking at changes in agreements to do with rental properties during the month, but especially as we move towards Friday the 5th through to Sunday the 7th. No matter what, with Jupiter moving through the house of you, you're pretty darn lucky, and things tend, like the cat o' nine lives, you'll land on your feet no matter what. I briefly mentioned in the introduction this mystic rectangle, where you have to bind the tension of opposites, as this rectangle forms here. And we're losing sight of it in this particular graphic, but it's still there. You might have to really square away or deal up some kinds of decisions and choices to do with your longer treasure chest monies this week. Your taxes, your tax structures, your banks, your mortgages, and those kinds of matters, in order for you to create some lemonade of goodness, especially when it comes to a balance between work and home matters, and spending and savings versus longer term retirement money. It's a little bit of negotiating with the universe to make some lemonade of the houses 2, 4, 8, and 10 in this week ahead. All right, and let's move into the sign of Cancer. Don't forget, if you're watching this live premiere and you haven't hit that like button, you want to. Just go ahead and hit it. Push that button, like my button, like this video, subscribe, you know the drill. I'm trying to get over last month's subscriber dump. No, it's nothing I said. YouTube tried to convince me what they had done is they had been scrubbing the bots and the fake accounts out. But it's dismal, because, I'm lucky to break 2,000 subscribers last month, and I was coming off at like 6,000, 4,000, late high 3,000s for the last 6 months. So if you haven't subscribed yet, and you're one of my regulars, check to see if you're still subscribed. I actually had a subscriber tell me that they can't believe that YouTube unsubscribed them in the last couple of weeks. And they're not a bot. So check out your account and see if you're still subscribed. Okay, so July the 3rd, this week ahead, July the 1st to the 7th is what we're looking at. A couple of big trines. I think I'll call this video a double trine luck or something, double trine luck. It'll keep it simpler than Seal of Solomon. But the gist of it is, the first big story is obviously Venus early this week flowing to Saturn for long-lasting, enduring love narratives. And when Venus is in this flow state, she's doing it from the house of your identity. This is where you are able to hold space to become Venusian. You're willing to be charming, likable, congenial, friendly, and more social than normal. You're holding space to even like yourself and self-love yourself a bit better. And you have that charm offensive when Venus is in the Cancer sign, when you're Cancer sun, moon, or rising, especially Cancer rising. So keeping that in mind, when you have that Venus allyship and she's flowing to Saturn, especially on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, she's flowing to Saturn, especially on Tuesday, Wednesday, when it's more exact. So you could be coming into a time where you're making some kind of solid and practical gains. When it comes to the word international, this is up here. When it comes to the area that has to do with legal matters, courts, publications, academic settings, these are all very strongly flowing with ease and grace for you, and luck and opportunity Tuesday and Wednesday. And also with the flow to Athena in this water trine and with, Sappho, there may be some travel opportunities that are romantic or leisure oriented or where are just simply going to bring you great pleasure that are opening up for you in the middle of this week. With entrepreneurial cancers and muse inspired cancers, one of the 10th muses with Athena, who represents authorship, books, and publishing, flowing to the house of publications. For some of you, cancers can be a breakthrough in creative projects that involve inspiration and the muse, perhaps authorship, writing, publications, and book publishing. Ease, breakthroughs, and flow in this week ahead. I do have a couple Cancer rising clients and friends who are indeed authors and also in the middle of negotiations for current writing projects. As we move into the narrative, we see that Mars also begins to flow to Saturn. This is pretty exact on Friday and Saturday, which are in my time zone, the 5th and 6th of the month. Now, Mars is flowing to Saturn, and Saturn is sitting here in the 9th house of book publishing and courts and foreign lands and international, and also the deep meaning of life, our spiritual beliefs and philosophies, and with that energy from the 11th house of elder sibling, friends as allies and benefactors, and gains from your career. You may be experiencing a very beautiful energy at the end of this week of a bit of a surge in your financial gain from your career as it connects to sort of a movement towards a deeper alignment with your goals and values. But honestly, it can be so many things, including an opportunity to travel with a friend to a foreign shore or an elder sibling, including a sense maybe of wanting to align your decision making and actions with a longer range goal and plan that has more meaning for you. Mars does rule that North Node Chiron in the 10th house, where you're trying to come into a deep alignment with destiny and purpose in your career. And this can be a shifting of the gears toward that more accurately or more acutely at the end of this week. On a practical note, there's an Earth trine that also engages Mars, and Mars will flow to Ceres in your marriage house and significant client audience outreach, where you can harvest something good, as well as to Juno, the goddess of agreements and vows and contracts and perseverant ones at that, in your 3rd house, which represents your siblings. So this is older and younger, a lot of sibling energy for you at the end of this week, but also travel opportunities and learning opportunities are highlighted. The energy of this trine here, right, between the houses 11, 7, and 3 are the relational houses, making this also a very grounded time to socialize with neighbors, neighborhood, extended family, aunts, uncles, nieces, cousins, and nephews, and your significant other, and your friends and allies and benefactors, and your siblings. Just feels like you're going to be on social steroids. Of course, it is July 4th in the United States for my Americans, who are 50% of my viewership. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, social city. You're very on your game. Because we have very geeky energy with Athena here, and she's like, trying to figure out like strategies all the time, and she's talking to your 7th house, you may be coming up with entrepreneurial strategies or creative strategies regarding how you wish to reap some more fruits from the bough of success in your audience, marketplace, and client structures. Can be very inspired new ideas coming to you at the end of this week for business models for those of you who may be more entrepreneurial. Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. The idea here is you've got a water trine and an earth trine this week. Venus is a part of the water trine, and you'll feel her flowing in a beautiful way to your chunky money. Saturn from the 12th house of backroom deals and negotiations, quite secret things that are going on in the backdrop of your life. You're simply your spiritual and more intimate, solitudinous, alone time. From that energy of the goodness and the joy you could spend in your alone time, you can also make money from foreign shores and lands this week. This can allow for borderless revenue and income that really positively impacts your long-term monies, like your savings for retirement, like your longer range investments. Really also seeing how there's a water trine flow down to a strategic Athena in your 4th house, Well, you might be really making strategic decisions behind the scenes regarding matters to do with home, property, and real estate, and long-term financial solutions, including mortgages and refinances or buying and selling property. Or for some of you, renting property as a landlord or a leasee, tenant landlord stories are happening here. Changes in your home regarding pets as well that are positive. Even some of you harvesting a new pet and bringing it into your home. We're talking about this Venus energy being very dominant Monday through Friday in this water trine, but also really more exact Tuesday and Wednesday. But later in the week, Mars really kicks in to activate more of the energy of the Earth trine. He's moving through Taurus. Taurus happens to be your 10th house of reputation and career. You have Cupido for passion, Uranus for surprises, Mars for decisions and actions. But Mars also ends, severs, and cuts, and you or someone in your workplace may exit stage left a certain career or job path, especially with the harvest goddess in your sixth house. Sometimes she's like a grim reaper-ess. What could you be either in a positive way that works for you, ending in some career story path, and yet at the same time, it's going to bring something positive to you, mostly because this is a beautiful flow of Earth, and all Earth trines bring resourceful financial outcomes in money and resourceful houses of the 2, 6, 10. So Juno could be commitments, agreements, and contracts. Mars could be exciting new changes of direction in your career. And so there's some of this sense of career, work, and reputation and money matters highlighted as you move through Friday, Saturday, and Sunday and experience the intensity of that beautiful Mars energy as it flows to this particular, what agreements and vows are you making regarding your career? It involves work. Don't forget, though, money and series can be about pets. Money, vows, and agreements can be about rentals. Are you also, some of you, renting property? Or leasing a property or renting out a property, that kind of stuff could be happening here. You could stabilize your long-range money and eliminate a debt as well with the Ceres Saturn vibe at the end of this week. Okay. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign in the sky. What we notice going on this double your beautiful flow, double your flow, 2 grand trine week ahead. I think I'll call it double the flow, double grand trine week ahead. It totally looks to me like the beginning of the week, Monday through Friday, with epicenter Tuesday, Wednesday. This Venus flow to Saturn looks so positive for your long-term committed love stories. If you're with somebody already and you've been feeling this hardship of Saturn, or maybe even Saturn made your partner feel like life is hard, there's a feeling here of a social glow up. What are you guys doing this week, Monday through to Monday through to Sunday, that looks like an amplification of fun, play, and pleasure in the local neighborhood, in a neighborhood environments, and with social groups of friends of belonging and fun events, and you and your partner getting a bit of a stabilization of challenges in the relationship. Now, you also may have an opportunity for a short distance travel or a long distance travel emerge for you and a significant other to start strengthening that relationship and giving it some legs to stand on. Are you a single Virgo? Then you could meet somebody new that you wish to commit to this week. Venus is talking to Juno, and you go, wow, I really like this person I met at this event or through a friend, and maybe I want to deepen this connection or make more commitment to it. It could just be for friendship reasons, not always romantic, right? Right. What about the idea of the Earth trine that's forming later in the week? Well, Mars is up there in your 9th house, flowing to Saturn in your 7th house. That sextile relationship energy is very auspicious between the two of them. It opens up some easy flow between your partner and you, travel, legal matters, long distance journeys, and matters to do with winning maybe in a court at a lawsuit storyline. Just keep that in mind. That's really coming through Friday through the weekend. But the Earth trine itself, Mars, Ceres, and Juno are activating Dharma houses in your chart. And it looks like you're trying to come into an alignment with your deeper meaning of life, the path you wish to take, making vows to commit to that, and also with the energy of flow to Ceres. And what does Ceres wish to harvest here? Now, she is like an archetypal mother goddess saving her daughter, but she's also kind of a reaper with a scythe. You may have a sense of positive yield, a harvesting of something positive, fullness and harvesting energies of some positive fruiting of something, or taking the nurturance and the positivity of something creative, something to do with your children, something to do with your romantic sexual love life, connecting you to a greater commitment, connecting you to a deeper meaning. Some changes here, though. Mars is always about change, and maybe there's a change of the way you and your partner are perceiving a long-term relationship. Maybe you're talking about children. Maybe you're talking about a wedding. Maybe you're talking about moving closer into some more connection together in some fundamental way. I would say for sure, most of you Virgos will have opportunities emerging for travel with your significant other, even if it's short distance or long distance in this week ahead. And if you're not with somebody, you may meet somebody new through travel in this week ahead, both in short distance or long distance travel. Now let's keep moving. Next, we're talking Libra. As we go to Libra, and I don't have any chocolate handy, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss a darn thing that I put out. Maybe up to 20 to 30 videos every month, all signs all the time. And I'm always in the live premiere when I can be. I mean, 80% of the time, taking your questions as the video airs. If you like that kind of, connection with me in the chat during the premieres of these videos, then you're going to like my channel. So don't forget to like my channel, subscribe. And the notification bell, 13%, 14% of you have hit that bell on my subscribers of 71,000 or so of you. Come on, guys. That's hardly any of you. That notification bell means I put something out, you know it, and then you could be in the live premiere with me. So if you haven't clicked your notification and click the all notifications, then go ahead and do that. All right, moving into the Libra story. All right, let's roll on Libra. Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, we have a water trine and we have an earth trine. It's a great week ahead. Double your fortunes in water and earth matters. So as a Libra, you're looking at a general vibe here that you have a flow of water. Venus is heralding good things from your watery Cancer 10th house. Successful developments are quite auspicious in career and reputation matters. She is invisible till nearly the end of July. So even though this week looks really good, especially Monday through Friday with epicenter Tuesday, Wednesday, for career matters, because of her invisibility, some of it may be low key, like conversations, negotiations, and deals, or something going on with the boss or the reputation space, a little more success, but it may not fully flourish as visible perfection outcomes until the end of July. And yet there's a flow, and the flow indicates more strategic use of your savings and earnings and possessions, more of a wisdom around that, and it flows to the workhouse where Saturn is retrograde, but also close to Earth. So there's a feeling of maybe the boss is loving you up. This can look like some kind of negotiations or raises or promotions for strategic greater savings from your job, earnings from your job, etc. And so it just looks like all the Artha houses are lit, so you're really looking at work, career, and money, savings, earnings, possessions, and wealth increase this week ahead. It's a good signature when Venus is at the top of the sky, even with her invisibility, for you to make strategic moves here to speak or request things you need or want or desire for more joyful engagement in the work story. And that can look like asking for some sort of literally days off that you need or more money that you desire because you deserve it, or some kind of perk that you think you're quite capable of receiving. When it comes to the earth energy, let's go there. There's two things happening. We have an earth trine, and that's involving Mars in Taurus. And this is more accurately intensified by his flow to our sextile flow. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, his sextile energy to Saturn. So let's go through this. This is your house of chunky money, stock investments, 401k, finances to do with shared monies with your significant other, money that connects you to legacy wealth down here. Some of you are getting a little harvesting here of some kind of money from the family of origin, looking good on you at the end of this week. Maybe just a bit of a surprise even because of Uranus, where there's some money coming at you from your mom and dad or up the family line. Also, the feeling here of the flow to Saturn allowing you to pay off any debts. Saturn's connection as well to work means work opportunities that benefit you financially, sign-on bonuses, commissions, performance review monies, etc. I think Saturn flowing to Ceres can indicate opportunities to make a change of home, especially if it's a rental. A very few of you may be opening up opportunities this late in this week for the sale or purchase of a home as well, thanks to the axis of 8 and 4. Now, with the energy of Saturn in your 6th house, if you've been struggling with a health challenge connected to your home, mold or some health challenges in your home, that may be coming to an end as well. And the earth trines are in the moksha houses of 12, 4, and 8. So there's a lot going on here because you see, Juno is like that kind of negotiations. No, she's like a vow, an agreement, a contractual arrangement to do with your home and to do with this money house here. But because we also see Saturn opposite Juno, some of you may end an agreement or reap or harvest away from an existing agreement to do with property, home, and rental or work matters. And you may begin to move in a new direction that's much more positive for you. Any of you Libras thinking of making a change in your home that's significant, there's a lot of flow for that to happen and to be financially beneficial. And if you have business partners or negotiations or agreements with people in far off foreign shores, that's also going to be significantly positive, especially if your employer is in say you're working for an international company or employer, some new contracts and agreements done in the quietude of a Venus that's invisible behind the scenes may realize itself in the end of July as raises, promotions, new jobs, or higher levels of authority, Saturn in the 6th house in your work. Bosses are loving you up right now if you have them. Hey, Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. So first off, we have a water trine. You're a water sign. Yay. We start off with Venus moving through the sign of Cancer. That's a water sign. Flowing to Athena, the strategic mind and thinker in the sign of you. Flowing to Saturn in your 5th house. You are all full of very sagacity, strategic-minded ways of perceiving reality, although you are very muse-inspired as well. You use that inspiration and strategic thinking mind to work your way toward lasting and stable positive results in love, romance, with your relationships with your children, and matters to do with creative projects and entrepreneurial businesses. At the same time, Venus at the top of the sky, especially in her simple flow to Saturn, is opening up opportunities to do with foreign travel, foreign shore people, churchy, religious type spiritual philosophies, bringing you greater joy and contentment. Maybe for some of you, some international exposure connected to career matters that are either entrepreneurial or that are connected to creative projects. Or if you're in the book publishing industry at all and you wish to get a public podcast or a book publication to really lift off in a lasting way that has legs to stand on, especially with Athena representing authors, and I figured that out in my real life practice. Looks to me like you're going to do well. Looks like a great opportunity to publish something or have international exposure. Now, this is going to also matter mostly around Wednesday, Thursday, when Venus is sextiling Saturn most exactly, but you feel it Monday through Friday. It's a whole week of energy. I kind of like this one for you. That is that the Earth trine is in your relating houses of houses 3, 7, and 11. So the Earth trine with Saturn flowing to your friends and agreements and gains in your career, flowing to Ceres in your 3rd house. Lots to be said here, but you're having some really significant opportunities to be more prosperous and financially well-resourced in areas of connection here too. short distance travel and learning and siblings and extended family, agreements and vows with friends and elder siblings. Elder and younger siblings can be very active for you this week, but also the flow is back to your seventh house of business and marriage partners. All of these kinds of people in your life are supportive of your financial, earthy positivity. You know, it's like kind of like resourcefulness through other people. You may also be making some changes and plans this week. Mars represents changes or new directions with your significant other. And while you will enjoy the flow of the earth, watch out for you being very Athenian, which I always think of her a bit like Spock or something, or an AI or something. She's very strategically minded and like kind of like wants to be victorious in all things. And yet she's opposing elements of partnership where your partner has a Mars sword in their hand. So any tension you experience with a marriage partner this or a long-term love partner this week ahead, especially at the end of the week through Thursday through Saturday, you want to bind that tension of challenges in this beautiful mystic rectangle. So find some solid gains in the romance, in the affection, in the enjoyment of each other's company here. And if you're in any kind of distress with a significant relationship as a Scorpio rising, you maybe solicit some sort of mediation support from people in your friendship circles to sort of talk you down, because it could be a little bit of stress at the end of the week for you in significant relationship with your partner being more unpredictable, erratic, or angry than normal. And finally, Mars is flowing to Saturn. And of course, that's really good for your relationship in the sense that you can find yourselves wanting to work together regarding mutually shared goals and agreements about children, fertility, sexuality, and romance. But it's very practical and it's very more sober and serious reflections on those themes with a significant other. I'm just going to briefly stop the share, grab a bit of hopefully chocolate, and be right back to you. Let's continue. Let's get rolling and let's finish up this amazing week ahead for every single sign. Yes, I managed to dig up some chocolate here on my vacation time off. Give me a sec. I'm just trying to prop you guys up on a massage table. All right, moving forward. Let's go ahead. Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. Can't complain. We have two trines in the sky, water and fire this week ahead. Auspicious energies to say the least. We're focusing on the positive. And in this really half full cup of energy we have going on, one of the things is Venus is really anchoring that water trine from your eighth house of chunky money, resources from significant other people like your spouse you share it with, your business partner, banks, loans, mortgages, investments in the markets, inheritances, because there's a connection to Saturn in the fourth house, which can represent money from your family of origin and legacy wealth. Possibly you're seeing some legacy wealth values, valuable money, possessions, things from your mom, dad, granddad, I don't know, coming up through the sky and favoring you in this week ahead. But with the Venus invisible in the eighth house, maybe the full Monty of its success shows up late in July, although the pigs are in place this week. Venus is in that exact flow Wednesday and Thursday. People from far off foreign shores and foreign lands and situations connected to revenue you generate from those places can be activated as well. This is also very positive for restoring a sense of goodness and wholeness to your family of origin, mom-dad relationships, karmic and ancestral patterns and ties. If you're in a secret love relationship connected to your family of origin, then love can endure and that secret relationship has some strength. I would say that also the Venus energy here, she's, in a flirty sextile to Mars this week, and all said and done, Mars-Venus sextiles look like fun. You were feeling that already last week, and it's still there as this week is beginning. I do think that one of the things that goes on here that I truly enjoy about this week is the fact that this water trine is anchoring things to do with where you've been feeling challenged when it comes to home alone, in my home alone, melancholic in the home alone storylines. What's going on home alone for you that has not been a really fun thing? Because that energy is that lightening up, and Venus is giving you some sweetness. Sometimes just Saturn means your home life feels difficult, domestic life feels challenging. This is auspicious for buying or selling property, and with Mars in the sixth house flowing to Saturn in your fourth, also for rental opportunities in your home and changes in your home regarding pets, or renegotiating financing and debts regarding rental situations or mortgages and properties. As we see the Earth trine working its magic in your sky in houses 2, Ceres, 6, Mars, and houses 10, career opportunities, work opportunities, and contracts to do with career and work, agreements and vows look positive. Or you may end some kind of relationship in your work situation. I don't mean a loved one. I mean, you might end a job or quit the job, but you're going to open up new opportunities as a result. And Ceres is also about what you want to harvest or reap in your finances connected to your work. And the only other way to parse this is financial gain connected to rental and property opportunities, pets, or rental agreements in this end of this week. And the Mars event here is most precise as we move towards Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, in the sense that not only is Mars in this trine, but he flows to Saturn. And that's where you get this energy of, is there a rental property agreement that you need? Is there a debt elimination through the sale of a property? Is there some kind of situation connected to your health that's going to improve, to do with work, home, and health matters? Changes of direction to do with home and work that are very auspicious for all of you, Sagittarius, at the end of this week. And finally, you may need to do something in your money stories this week, especially, all week long, really, to do with how you are making the money you make. When I see the harvest goddess here, sometimes I think of a Grim Reaper-esque. Are you going to change or reap or sever, harvest something in your financial situation that allows for you to have a little bit more reliance on money that can come from your business partner or love partner, and less on your own chutzpah, your own energy? You could even code Venus, the goddess of love, flowing to goddess of marriage, is that what kind of ways do your significant marriage partner contribute to your jointly held finances, should you have one? Otherwise, this could look like secret hidden love stories coming off of the chart in work environments. And this could be work romance, office romance this week for some of you Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising. It's a really hard sky to delineate, guys, because there's just so much going on. So I'm doing my best here. It's mostly positive. We have oppositions, of course, but all the flow of the two trines in earth and water are auspicious. Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign. First of all, we have a water trine with Venus at the helm. She's in your house of your significant long-term committed love stories, the partners that you're with, or the ones that you could meet under this influence in love and romance, or friendship and significant business partners. Venus is bonifying your business partnership and love partnership house. And maybe your love partner is doing really well. Maybe you find them more attractive than usual. Maybe they are also in a state of positive developments in their life, with a greater glow up for them at the end of July when Venus is visible. But at this point, you're seeing Venus say things are going well in significant committed love and business partners, or how your audience marketplace receives your output. Now, Venus flows to your 11th house of elder siblings and large groups of friendships and gains from your career. She flows in a waterway to your 3rd house of your younger siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, and short distance travel and communications. In an existing love relationship, there's a lot of travel energy going on, especially between Venus and Juno in a sextile and Venus down to Saturn here. I think some of you in your love stories may be looking at agreements and arrangements and plans or whatever regarding travel and significant love being formed in the week ahead. Venus is most exactly connected to the story on Wednesday and Thursday. And you may book a trip, take a trip, plan a trip to some destination together. You may be feeling some kind of constriction and hardship regarding your local neighbors and neighborhood situations. That's very possible for you. Or, you know, or how your travel and your love stories are not meshing perfectly, or you've been feeling that way. And now there's this resolution energy this week ahead. Some of you, if you're like online world social media types, there is a flow between Venus and Neptune, and this is your online world, and it can indicate some success for Capricorns in their social media output and celebrity or fame or a bit of glow in the audience marketplace vibe. The Earth trine is involving, of course, Mars and Taurus, and he's sitting here in your romance and sexual energy house. Get ready for the little surprising energy around the 15th, but also your children, if you have them, and also your creative projects and entrepreneurial endeavors. And so this energy of Mars here in a state of flow and ease to Juno in the house of foreign lands can be creative, artistic, and entrepreneurial agreements with foreign people and foreign places and foreign shores. Jupiter is already saying, I bless you with work opportunities in this year ahead into next year. And Mars is also flowing back to Ceres. Now you've got the sickle or the scythe in your hand. You're the one who wants to harvest and reap positive things in sexual, romantic love with your children, with that Uranus conjunction to Mars on the 15th regarding your children could be news that one of your children is like, say, going to have a child or moving closer to you, or it may not even be about you, or your romantic partner has a surprise for you. But before we even get there, your competitive spirit is very strong with Mars in the 5th house. You want to win, your competitive nature is amplified, and you could apply that competitive nature in this case to matters to do with competing for things to do with success entrepreneurially or connected to foreign shores, foreign lands, and foreign people, an agreement you would make with them. I wonder too, aloud, how this Saturn element plays in. The watery Saturn hooks up with the Martian trine, the Martian Earth trine for resourcefulness, very tightly and very exactly as we approach July 4th, right? So really on July 3rd, 4th, and 5th, you're really feeling it, even into the 6th. And Mars is saying, let's make some changes and decisions regarding creativity, entrepreneurship, romance, and sexuality. And Mars is flirting with Venus, which is good for enduring sexy flirtation and long-term romances. But also Mars is talking to Saturn, and he's saying, do we want to take a romantic getaway? Do we want to take a trip to visit our children? Do we want to make decisions regarding our creative and romantic and entrepreneurial endeavors that are going to lead to longer term determined results that last in 3rd house matters? Third house matters like your neighbors, your neighborhood, your online world, your writing and creativity projects that do with, online social media, communications, selling and marketing. That's Saturn in your 3rd house. Your everyday life, your everyday world, the fishbowl in which you swim, may have felt really isolating or contracted in the recent last year. And Mars is saying, let's change that. Let's make some decisions about what motivates you to be enthusiastic, joyful, and inspired. And some of you may engage in a change of neighborhood or discussions or decisions about it, especially revolving around changes of neighborhood and perhaps longer-term relationship partnerships. It can be a big change of neighborhood, could even be around another country. Moving into the next story. All right, Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. I'm particularly liking this energy for us. I'm Aquarius rising. When it comes to matters to do with Venus's embedment here in a trine of flow from a house of sickness and health, work and work routines, rental agreements, and debts. Certainly having a goddess of beneficence here, even if she is invisible with the sun, but she will rise at the end of the July, can help us flow to greater career success by being strategic or becoming authorial, like being an author or a communicator of knowledge and wisdom in a very muse-inspired way, and also flowing to our earnings, resources, and possessions, and our financial well-being. It looks like a real solidification for a lot of Aquariuses of their financial strategies and plans and structures, and endurance of those structures as it connects to ability to eliminate debt, to find emotionally satisfying and joyful work, and to reach a place of strategic inspiration and muse inspiration and ascendancy in one's career and reputation. So in other words, it opens up opportunities to do with money, savings, earnings, debts, work, and career. It's an ideal time to land a long-term job that you would love. It's an ideal time to shift gears regarding situations to do with pets or rental property, especially. Mars, Uranus is going to surprise a lot of us Aquarians yet again with regards to our home. I'll be doing a webinar on this, where we live, our home situation. Because there's a flow here between Mars and Juno at the end of the week, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we may have an unexpected, surprising Uranian opportunity to form agreements and contracts around finances that connect us to mortgages, banks, and loans, buying, selling, purchasing, but also because of Venus flowing to Mars and that flirty sextile, also things to do with rental property agreements. And because we have a mini grand trine between Juno, Venus, and Mars, rental opportunities and agreements and chunky money and mortgages and banks and loans and debts are all favored in auspicious ways as we move through Friday through to Sunday. Mars is also having a beautiful conversation with Saturn about things we do in and from our home, connected to changes and decisions there that fortify and strengthen our long-range money and savings and financial wellness. For some of you, Mars here can cut, end, or sever situations all of a sudden connected to where you live. But yet at the same time, those changes may come through work opportunities, rental opportunities, and also stabilization of your finances in regards to career and work matters. In other words, some of us may have a change of home connected to a career opportunity, or a pet situation, or a rental situation. All said and done, it strengthens our finances and helps us eliminate our debts, while at the same time increasing our success in our visible career. So there's a kind of renegotiation of reality regarding those matters because of the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction happening on the 14th, 15th of July. You can still expect some kind of shock and awe in the months that follow regarding where you live, with Venus only becoming visible at the end of the month of July. Even though we're talking about this week ahead, some events to do with work, debts, home, rentals, pets, earnings, resources, and career are also going to be more visibly obvious as the end of July approaches and Venus becomes visible. Alrighty, and her visibility will occur in the sign of Leo. And I'll be doing a visible Venus video, but it indicates, again, seventh house matters also involved in how you determine matters of domicile and where you live. And seventh house matters are business partners and long-term committed partners. Okay, we're moving into the next story, and that's Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising. So Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. First of all, there's a water trine with Venus. You're a water sign. You enjoy this tremendously. Venus flowing from the house of children, fun, play, pleasure, leisure travel, a romance and sexuality, loving the Saturn in you. You've been sober-minded, realistic, stern, and sagacity-wise, very on your Yoda ever since last March, and will continue to be that way through till February of 26 as Saturn negotiates through and travels through gets a life raft going through your Pisces waters. However, understand something else about this. Saturn can make you melancholic, alone, burdened, and fearful, anxious, or depressed. You have to choose what you want from him, because in a way, he can offer you the world of sagacity, Or you could take the downside and be like a mopey stick in the mud. So do what you want with it. That's your Saturn story. But now Saturn flows to the goddess of pleasure. And Saturn says lasting love, enduring love, lasting pleasure, enduring pleasure when it comes to sexuality, romantic love. A great time for single Pisces to start dating and meet someone. Please do, especially with flirty Mars sextiling Saturn. Single Pisces, listen, start dating this week. Go out on a date, try a first date. It looks good. In existing love relationships, it fortifies the affection, the nurturance, the romance. And some of this can lead you to want to do things abroad in international locations. This is good for artists, entrepreneurs, and international exposure. It's great for artists who write, who are authors, and publications and books. The muse is on fire here and here. Your children can be giving you news to do with fertility as well if you have children, such as they are going to have a child. You are fertile with Venus here. And if you're of an age as a man or a woman where having a pregnancy or a child or a conception is something you consider possible, then this is very conception-y in the week ahead. And therefore, just know that, right? Whether you want to conceive a child or not. You can conceive a new book project. You can conceive a new artistic project. The conception vibe of fertility goddess Venus in your fifth house is luscious on the week ahead. Mars is moving through your third house, and he's saying, do you want to make decisions and changes about neighbors and neighborhood, sibling relationships, especially younger, or travel and short distance travel opportunities to playfully have romantic or leisure opportunity and travel with siblings, etc. Mars will hit Uranus on July 15th. We'll do a whole video on that. There'll be some surprises coming through the chart to do with disruptions of travel, surprises regarding siblings, surprises regarding neighbors and neighborhood changes. Get ready for that as well. Yeah, at the same time, wow, what a sky for meeting someone new, for meeting someone on a trip, for meeting somebody in the local neighborhood, for meeting somebody on a dating app, and really forming a long-lasting bond with that person. You know, the Earth energies are happening with Mars later in the week, Friday through Sunday. Mars is in a flow state of an Earth trine, which is going to open up a door of prosperity and financial abundance, or just good energy of the earthy ways of being in your relational houses between the siblings, the aunts, uncles, cousins, nieces, nephews, and neighbors, and your significant marriage partner to whom you are contracted or would like to vow. That's why I love it for you singletons, because Venus Juno flow can indicate a dating relationship, significantly committing to something more intense and profound this week ahead. It does strengthen, of course, your existing commitments in love and allows for greater connection with your romantic partner if you have one. But that aside, also Mars is flowing, okay, back to the trine. He's also flowing to Ceres, the harvest goddess, in your friendship circles and your elder sibling relationship. Some of you Pisces are forming sibling relationship energies in a very flowing way between younger and elder siblings, and a sense of commitments and agreements you may make with them. And you may not even know you're going to. Some of these may be made because of events that are occurring as this week rounds out to an end, as we move through, you know, Friday through to Monday of next week. On the other hand, you may make some positive changes, Mars, in things you want to accomplish in the third house of your local environment. This can look very much, if you're an online entrepreneur, like a lot of passion and drive going into your online world and the endeavors there. And the sextile to Saturn just means you are forbearant, perseverant, and disciplined in getting the website done and getting the social media posts out and getting everything all done and taking action that you need to do. You know, with Juno across the way from you, Saturn in your house, you're very serious about your committed love relationship and the kinds of agreements and vows that must be made with that person if you already have one. But because there is a lot of flow to Venus, this is the week for you as a Pisces to have the more difficult discussions, if you need to, with an existing long-term partner, so that you can move into a state of greater enjoyment, fun, play, and pleasure with that person. Sometimes this can even look like a need for you to have serious, robust conversations around how you guys are connecting emotionally in the romantic department, not just physically. And finally, I would say, just reminding you guys, as Pisces, all this Jupiter luck is befalling you through to next year. until June 9th. And, that can look like legacy wealth, money from your family of origin, inheritances, but just luck and expansion and growth and opportunity from what you do in your home, from your home, or about your home, including real estate, property purchases, and sales. So that's really lovely for you. So keep that in mind as a backdrop of everything else that's going on. Jupiter is blessing your fourth house. Okay, thank you for listening, Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising. And thank you all of you who made it through this video on a Monday. I know we're coming into Canada Day. Some of you won't even listen, and then getting ready for July 4th for my Americans. But this is my schedule. Every single Monday, I have a week ahead video for all signs. Twice a week, I have a moon video for the new and full moons. Eclipse season, I have eclipse videos. And then I often have videos about very important topics, such as the Mars-Uranus conjunction, in which I will likely whip up a webinar that's free, but also have a very deep dive video on that coming out sometime. This is Monday, probably on Thursday. We'll be tackling that intensity of that conjunction between Mars and Uranus. So stay tuned for that video. Venus will be moving into around July 11th into the next sign, which is Leo, and that video will be coming out closer to then as well for your sign. I love doing the Venus videos. They're a lot of fun because Venus brings good things no matter what. All right, thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. You can now get for less than half price my 2024 All Signs videos at only $33. It was $77. That's 120. That's 12 videos times 90 minutes each. Therefore, listen for your sun, moon, and rising, or buy a la carte and share with friends and family, or buy the rest of the 6 months of predictions ahead a la carte for $14.99 instead of $25 just for one sign, just for your sun, your rising, whatever you want to listen to. Obviously, it's more affordable to buy the bundle, because you get to listen for sun, moon, and rising, but also share with friends and family. But you do you. But if you're interested in grabbing that, it's my annual summer sale that starts July 1st every year and runs through the month of July. So if that price is appealing to you, you want to grab it during this month ahead. Sometimes I extend it into August, but we'll see. But it is on sale for the summer sale of the All Signs bundle. You have 6 months ahead of the year. It's not like I'm selling this to you in October. So grab it while you can. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening. Big hugs. And don't forget, if you hit that notification bell and if you subscribe and if you like my videos, these are just simple steps that really help the algorithms say this channel is something other people want to see, and that it helps grow the channel and helps grow my business and helps grow me continue to create this content for you, rather than, say, getting a job at Walmart, which is always another option as well. Attention, Walmart shoppers. Ciao.